we are back. This is the Duke London podcast. We are collaborating with Artists for Artists for the third week this will be, as part of the Artists for Artists digital spring stage. So over the next, it'll be a total of 8 weeks, but we are 3 in. We're going to bring you weekly content from a variety of artists that we've commissioned for various projects. There's 4 of the Duke London podcasts, and then the rest of them will be various other things. I don't want to reveal too much that hasn't already been revealed. And because we're recording this before it starts to go out, I don't know what I've revealed in the future yet. So we'll have to see what happens. Future Luke might have already revealed everything. So the Artists for Artists are collaborating with myself for these podcasts. Artists for Artists were founded in 2016. They're a trailblazing initiative activating artist and sector change for UK hip-hop dance community. Known for their provocative and inclusive conversations, Artists for Artists' collaboration with the Duke London hopes to reactivate conversations that have since been paused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many things have been paused. But yeah, that's basically what's happening here, guys. If you want to check out all the digital spring stage content, it will be on the Artists for Artists website, which is www.artistforartists.co.uk. And yeah, after next week will be the last podcast, and then we'll be moving on to the other content. So keep tuned with everything on the Artists for Artists socials. And obviously all of this will be on the Duke London socials as well. So if you're a Duke London listener, all 3 of you, go and check out the Artists for Artists content on their website. If you're an Artists for Artists listener, come over to the Duke London side, guys. Come and check out all my past podcasts. I think I've done, I want to say 28 plus these 3, so 29, 30. This might be episode 31. I might be counting wrong, but there's a few that are already in the bank on Spotify, YouTube, not SoundCloud, everywhere else, Apple Music, all of that jazz. So if you want to listen to other people talk with me, or just listen to other people talk and skip through my bits, you're more than welcome to. I'm here today with a lovely lady called Kloe Dean, who I'm sure everybody knows. Hi, Kloe.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Bit of an early morning start, but it's all good. We've got coffee, so it's fine. Tell the listeners a bit about you, because I feel like I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
I remember,
oh God,
I guess Toy Box and Myself days
yes.
back in the must have been 2007, 8, 9 kind of era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boroughs United, GWI,
yes.
all them way back. I don't know, when did Myself start?
2008. Yeah.
Okay, so I probably remember around that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us a little breakdown, because I think it's interesting. You know, I could come here with a scripted intro of, your bio that you send me, or something that I think about you. But I think it's interesting to hear how people define themselves now in the moment, you know, how do you see yourself as an artist? How would you describe yourself? Who are you, kind of thing?
Well, my name is Kloe Dean.
Hi, Kloe.
I am a dance artist. I wear many different hats though. So I'm a choreographer. I am also a movement director. I teach and facilitate and have done for a very long time. I am a freestyler. I used to battle a lot more than now, obviously.
Everyone used to battle a lot more than they do now.
Yeah, obviously. I also do creative consultancy, and I have done a bit of producing as well.
Oh, cool.
Quite a few different creative hats. So
what's creative consultancy?
So a lot of the time people will want to contact me and ask me advice creatively about where to go with a project, or with an artist, or with a company or a group. And I wouldn't necessarily facilitate physically, but I would give them the consultancy to then move forward for them to make a decision, which I didn't really coin yet, and I'd been doing it since... I'm sure you do it and not know about it. I was just going to say,
I think it's maybe like a generational thing, but I had these conversations with a couple of other people where they were talking about, I mean, it sounds like you're already ahead of the curve a bit, but that they were talking about, should we charge for this stuff after a while? Because, it's a lot of times I was talking in the last episode with Geni about, reaching out to kind of people that inspire you, or people that could help you, and offering to buy them a coffee and ask them questions and stuff, which I think is fine, and everyone does that in every industry. But I think, at what point do you say, okay, this is like a 4-hour meeting that like I could maybe charge you for, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And
is that kind of how it happened for you? You just realized,
like it's not. I'm not like flossing off of this creative consultancy, but I just started to realize, and I'm still crafting it at the moment, especially in this era of like digital transformation. But like I realized there's a lot of one of them was you know, like when people recommend dancers, and obviously if you're an agency you would charge a commission, and like for years I was booking people jobs and not thinking anything of it, and even that in itself, you're like raw, like
this
finding out like your peers are like taking like £50 or something, even from jobs that they've given me.
You're recommending dancers straight to the client, like you're not recommending to an agency who
like I would have done, I did that like unknowingly, just like wanting people to win, do you know what I mean? But then I think after a while, not even just agency but like creative consultancy, like I don't know, you would get an artist call you, for example, like, oh, I really want to do this and maybe I'll work with you. That you don't know if that's going to happen, and then you realize you've given them all of these gems of like information or who to talk to, or like I want to do crump, and I might be like, well, that's not my forte, like, but I can advise you on who to go to, knowing that they've never been in the dance scene or they've never really investigated, and then you've given them like you said, like an hour, 2-hour conversation. They've booked that crump dancer and they're like killing it, and you're like, if you didn't have a conversation with me, you wouldn't have got there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is like the next level of, you know, when we often, again, we spoke about this already on one of the episodes, but where we have the younger dancers who will go and like do music videos for free and stuff, and I guess a lot of the older generation get a bit pissed and are like, you're fucking the industry up by doing that, like, even though that in some places it's necessary, and that's a whole debate, but I think this is our like a kind of older generation version of that. Is like, right, now we need to know our worth, in the sense of we're used to going to a client that has a lot of money and being like, no, we're at the point where we know we're good dancers, we need to charge. But actually now our knowledge is really important.
It's useful.
Before we were just like sharing it with our peers and be like, oh, do you think could this work? Yeah, maybe. Oh, I don't know, let's all try. Like now it's like you're giving years of 10, 15 years of
But like
knowledge.
Imagine if you sat down, Duke, and you wrote down the hours that you've trained from the day you started to now. You probably couldn't, because there's like so many. But do you know what I mean? But if you look at that as experience alone, like people pay, like you don't go to an accountant and go, so can you just have a little glance at my my taxes?
Do you know what I mean?
Just tell me if I'm not going on the right road. Do you know what I mean? Like an accountant wouldn't unless it's your friend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, say, even with that, it's like if you were someone that is an accountant that wants to get into accountancy, let's say, you might be able to reach out to like a family friend who's an accountant and sit down and buy them coffee. Cool, there's a personal connection, it's just a quick. But if you want to learn to be an accountant or whatever, in whatever context we're talking, you go and pay for a course. Or do you know what I mean? Or you go and book one-to-one. Even like a lawyer, like they charge for what you call it?
Just a consultancy, like literally a consultation, like literally.
But they'll charge for that. So it's like, I think this is some of the things in dance like we
can tap into.
And I think this is maybe the influence of it being a culture turned business, where it's like we're still in the cultural aspect. And I think there's something to be said for that, of like, you know, each one teach one and all that kind of jazz. But then there's a point where you're like, okay, but the one that is teaching one needs to get paid.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like, oh, like people, my peers, I'm going to be like, I'm going to charge you this. It's people that are not in our culture or in our world that need that knowledge. Like you said, if you want to be educated in something, and like, unless you're a young person and can get it for free, you have to pay for that. So I think
it's just fair. Needed. You're working, like, after a certain point, you know, there's doing a favor, or there's like, you're just doing work. And
do you know what I mean? And I think it can come in so many different lights, because especially the fact that I've been a facilitator for a long time and a teacher. Like there's even that aspect. Like, for example, I've been asked to facilitate like project managing a teaching job, for example, in schools and stuff. Not that it can happen now, but I wasn't teaching on it myself, but I was facilitating that consultation of like how to do this the best way possible with the styles that they wanted the people to teach. So I think there's so many different avenues into it that we can tap into. And I think when you were saying about like young people doing videos for free, I think that I feel like in as a journey of a dancer, I feel like there is a moment where you're like just grabbing any opportunity that you can. So I totally understand that excitement. And I think you've really got to put it in perspective, because if it's like big boy artist asking you to dance for free, then I think it's really different to like an independent, like indie artist that really doesn't have that much money. But I think that there's always a way of like exchanging. So even if you can't pay that dancer, I don't know, a full fee, at least buy them some food or pay for their travel or just something that you can exchange. So I think there's another way.
I 100% agree. I think it's very contextual, and that's the hard thing about putting like a rule on anything, where it's like, you know, you could never do a music video for free. It's like, well, yeah, you can. Like, there's a lot of reasons where that's very, very valid to do. And even for a big artist, it's like, even putting a rule on that, you're like, you just have to get your judgment in order, I guess, and know whether, because the thing is, it's like, I think the general mentality, especially for younger dancers, is like, if I do this video for a big dancer for free,
I'm going to get bare work.
Yeah, I'm going to get bare work, which usually comes when they think that person's going to see them on set and be like, oh, you're so amazing, I want to book you for the next one. But it's like, look at, now we know with a bit of experience, I guess, like if that's the sort of thing they're doing now, what makes you think the next video they're going to
is going to exactly
you?
No,
Do you know
I
what
agree.
I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's hard as a dancer. And I know myself, I've been very naive in those situations as a younger dancer.
Oh yeah, same.
Because you don't really deep, like you don't deep that you're in a room on set and like the cameraman's getting paid a good bag, like good bag. Like all these people are getting paid well and you're not. And I think that's the realization that people don't have, because I think sometimes people think, oh, everyone in this room must be doing it for free. So,
and that you think it's a privilege. This is my thing as well, is like, because musicians and stuff are famous, we think it's a privilege to be in the same room or be able to dance with them. And for me, I'm like, okay, like actually there's some UK rappers, let's say, who like, and this might, I don't know if this sounds like, let's say like big-headed or whatever, but
no, go for
but
it.
like, I'm as good at what I do as
in
you
your
are
lane,
as you are at what you do. It just happens to be that what you do makes way more money than the dance. But it's like, I'm also a legitimate professional who's maybe even been doing what I do longer than you have. And like, if I'm the choreographer or whatever, and you're just like a brand new MC, you like might have got a label to put a budget behind you. But I'm like, I'm very like worth the money.
No,
you know?
100%.
So I think it's like, it's not a privilege.
I
Oh, just because I'm, you know, I don't know, I can't think of someone who's without cussing, but like, oh, I get to meet N-dubs. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, realistically, like,
oh my god, what was their song?
I swear.
Yes, dude.
Channel you guys.
Oh my god.
This might be like too old for some people.
Some people.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, if you get gassed by meeting these people, yes, on a personal level, that's fine. But if that's clouding your professional judgment, it's like, it's not worth, you know, oh, I was on TV in this music video and you can show off to your friends. Great. But you didn't get much out of it. But conversely, you can be in one of those and get loads out of it. Without realizing. I often find as well, like, not to go too much down this road, but like, the times when it's worked out the best for me is I've had to beg to do something for free. Like, that is usually the sign for me. They're like, you know, I've had moments where it's been like, oh, you know, we only have a budget, or like, let's say I know someone that's on the job or whatever, and I'm like, it's way easier to describe with photography. Can I come and shoot behind the scenes? Oh no, we don't have a budget for a behind the scenes photographer. And I'm like, no, like, I'll do it free. Oh no, we don't really, like, you know, we would prefer to, like, if we're hiring people. And I'm like, no, look, just let me, I'll just come for an hour. Let me shoot some behind the scenes. I'm not going to charge you. Don't worry. Like, you don't have to budget food for me for the day. I'll do it. They're like, all right, cool, come along. And that's when I'm on a legitimate set, because I've had to, like, a legitimate set won't beg you to come.
No, 100. And I think that's really good morally. Like, they're telling you, like, no, exactly, like, we can't pay you, don't come. I think that's really great.
Exactly. And that's, for me, is the sign. If they're telling me don't come, it makes me want to be there more, because I'm like, you're the people I want to be in with.
100.
So yeah, I think it's all the judgment. But anyway, going back to you, so you kind of have all these different hats and you're moving between all of them. Is any one of them more prevalent that you would like see yourself more as that than the other one?
In this present moment, I am trying to focus my energy more so into the choreographic and movement direction element.
Okay. Because
I really want to get into creative direction as well.
So can we just pause there for a second. Can you define movement direction and creative direction as opposed to choreography, just for people that may not know the differences?
Yeah. So this is something I'm still discovering. But what I realized, because I was like, I'm a creative director, and I was like, let me reel myself back in. No, I'm not. Because then when you have an interview with a creative director, and you're like, okay,
yeah, it's like, I do your job too.
Yeah,
and they're like,
no. So for me, how can I describe it? So like a creative director is like, they make the whole cake. So like they bring the base, they bring all the layers, all the ingredients.
On like
everything.
What sort of project are we talking? Like a music video? Or?
We can say a music video.
Okay, cool.
So creative director for me would create the treatment.
Yeah.
Maybe working with a natural director, depending on whether they're solely directing it visually as well, or the cinematographer, whoever else they're working with. But they have like the overall kind of rounding idea of what this feel is for the video, if there's a narrative, what that narrative is, the color themes, what the song lyrics are relating to. Like they've had a proper in-depth conversation with the artist. The label are really clear on what the branding is, and like they intertwine all of that.
Cool.
And I feel that creative directors have a palette, and that's why you go to them. So like, for example, I don't know, like, when you see a Missy video, not now, but not that they're bad now, but like back back in the day. No, I love a Missy. But like if you looked at her videos, you would know when certain directors. Do you know what I mean? Or like Aaliyah, for example.
Think
like
a great example of that is, I don't know if he's a creative director, but is it Hype Williams?
Hype Williams, that's what I was thinking of. So like when you see a Hype Williams video, you know it's hype.
And
even
what I mean? Also, this is the thing I would say to anyone listening: if you don't know, you do. Like if you go and Google his name and see all the different videos, you'll be like, oh, that's why I think all these videos look similar or have the same feeling. It's because that's his touch on it, I think.
But exactly, when you see Hype, like you said, you can see his palette. Yes, does that make sense?
Definitely. Yeah.
So I think that for me is a creative director. Whereas choreographically, you could look at, I don't know, a certain choreographer's movement style, and it's them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the video or like the setting, the narrative,
because they would have to fit into different creative directors' visions.
Exactly. If it's like a big puzzle, I think a choreographer is like a majority of that puzzle, but not all of it. Yes, whereas 100%. Like the creative director is like they created the puzzle.
Created the puzzle.
Does that make sense?
Definitely.
That's my understanding of it, and people obviously will have their own. But I really, because I go to music videos or I create shows and stuff, and I feel like when I'm a part of the puzzle, I think, not in a bad way, but I think, I would have done this differently, or like
definitely
my vision would have fit better if everything looked like this, or especially for me, which is what I'm trying to get into a little bit more, is cinematography.
Nice.
And the framing of things, I think matters. Like I'm really OCD about framing, and I'm one of those annoying people that makes the cameraman do a whole routine. Like I'm like, you better be ready. This isn't no zoom in, zoom out business. Like full on
from the
remember
video
what you're doing.
I can say that's like.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I really want to have a hand in that, and not to say I want to be a control freak and do everyone's job, because I can't. But like, I would really love to be able to articulate my creative ideas. To be able to create that world for that artist or whoever I'm working with. Yeah,
sick. And so then that's creative direction. So movement direction, how do you see that?
So movement direction for me comes in two kind of packages. So you've got like general choreographic movement direction of like a full ensemble. So that could be either a group, it could be a cast in a film, it could be anything from like pedestrian movement, because sometimes this is something I discovered when I was starting to get older, and I was like, everyone can move, like everyone can move in time. And you're like, wow. Like one job I did was like just getting people to walk in time and things like that, and you're like, for us that's easy, like so simple, but for other people it's so hard. So there's that kind of element, and then there's more movement direction in regards to performance and a specific, like for example, like an artist, like a music artist. And again, you feel like some artists would naturally have that thought process, but a lot of people I've worked with find that quite hard and challenging. That's fine, but that's the beauty of having a movement director.
And I would imagine as a musician, you spend a lot of your beginning of your career just in a booth recording, and trying to concentrate on the music.
If that's not your natural ability, and I think,
and then one day someone's like, right now you got to perform it. You're
exactly.
Like, oh,
and one thing I did find, especially she probably wouldn't mind, but working with Kloe Soul, is we started off working together, and I kind of went in and I thought, okay, yeah, let's get moving, like moving. And then over time I started to realize it's not just about moves, it's about the quality of her movement that marries her music and brings out her lyrics, it brings out her feeling, her natural movement. And I think that's something that I've grown to realize working with different artists is like, I think the strongest and most important thing is to bring that out first and then look at where that can go. Because if someone's not naturally like wanting to move all the time or do big old 8/8 choreography, then there's no point forcing that upon someone that doesn't have 100%. That naturally.
And I think like you can see when there's just someone is being forced to do moves that the choreographer has
set upon them,
and they're like it wasn't choreographed with them in mind and what their skill. I mean, I even find that with dancers sometimes. You know, it's like you can just bring a routine to a bunch of dancers like we do in class, and the point is that is the point. But then when you're working with a performance, it's like you should create with your set dancers in mind, you know, some
their abilities.
Some of the times.
No, I agree.
Because then you can really make it look natural. Like,
and I think it's hard to do that. I don't think it's easy. And I think it comes with experience and it comes with time. Because I think there's just like like you said, you can tell when someone's had like movement plonked onto them as opposed to like it's drawn from them and their music, which is something I really want to be better at as well as a movement director, is because sometimes it's not even about the steps. It's about, okay, addressing the audience, being open, taking time to breathe. Like I'm working with another artist who's having a lot of challenges with her breath work and stuff. And even just looking at that, because as movers, that's something we should be conscious of as well. Like the amount of times when, if you really think about when we've done all these shows and we've just held our breath and banged out routines.
You know, that's like one of my biggest flaws in dance. Like, I mean, I have many, but like that's one of my biggest ones is like, this is why I struggle with battle rounds. Like creatively, I feel like I have a lot of rounds. Like if I had to go like 5-6 rounds, I've got more
you
stuff.
Got bare contact.
Oh, thanks.
Bro, you got bare.
Stop it.
You got bare.
Giving me them compliments. But you know what the problem is like I'm not good at breathing. I'm really bad. I hold my breath. I don't time my breathing well. So I gas out really quick over no reason. Like, because my muscles aren't getting the oxygen. So I'm just not.
I feel you.
I'm like, why am I tired? I've done 2 rounds. Yeah. Like, I can go for a run, but I can't do 2 rounds. What's happening?
And I think it's that consciousness. Like, because if you watch some of my favorite dancers, I watch them and I'm like, they don't care. It's their time and they are breathing. Yeah.
Like, you know, I was
so simple, but
when we were in Vegas for the HHI thing, right? There's a group, this was way back, a Canadian group called Illest Vibe, right? And we watched them rehearse. And like, you know, when they're rehearsing out in the lobby and it's just like a little speaker, they choreographed their breaths into the thing. So every dancer would be not only moving, but going like
breathing together. Do you know how strong that connection is?
Yeah.
That is.
But it helps that no one gets gassed out at different times because they're all making sure to have choreographed.
But can we just take a moment that all dancers from Canada are sick? Can we just take a moment?
They do.
I really I believe that I need to move to Canada. That is what I need to do.
Like Jen's from Montreal, so I haven't. I love the Montreal scene.
Yeah, no, it's sick. I would love to go there.
Good, we're gonna do a call in a bit with a special guest. But I just wanted to ask you before we get there, like how do I phrase it? Like, where do you see yourself in terms of like, so you've got this choreographer, movement director, creative director. They're all kind of at different stages, I guess. Consultancy, you said, is really new. Producing, I said, I guess it's like maybe something you've done a bit of, but it's not like your main focus. So as a whole, as a creative, where do you see yourself in your career? Are you like a new artist? Are you a veteran? Are you like a mid-level? Where would you place yourself?
I find that really hard.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
I've been in the scene a long time, and it's funny because a lot of people meet me and they think that, like, I don't know, like depending on your age, some people will know me, some people won't. And like, I've been doing this stuff for like, if I deep it, like I started getting into the scene when I was about 12. Yeah. I'm 31 now. That's quite a long time.
Oh, we're literally the same age, yeah.
And I just think that there's a level of like understanding of the scene and how that's grown that even people before me, do you know what I mean, have been in the scene for such a long time. But like, from being able to be in the scene from the age of like 12, 13 and then see it grow, and I mean like the UK scene into what it is now, I think that alone is like a level of experience.
Sure.
I've been blessed to be in different avenues, like for example, having myself as a company and running a company, being a dancer and touring, like being blessed to tour the world with different shows. And a big thing for me has always been, I was a bit like cocky when I was younger, in a sense that like I actually didn't get drawn to doing a lot of commercial work because I didn't want to dance behind someone. Like, I wanted to be at the front, if that makes sense, because I actually wanted to sing before I danced.
Oh, cool.
And obviously that didn't happen. But now, so now that I'm like on that journey, I've been doing a lot of different things and I'm trying to streamline them because I feel like I am answering your question, don't
No, that's fine.
But I feel like I haven't peaked yet. Like I haven't peaked, peaked. And
would peak be like you in your, not in like necessarily at mid or like end of your career, but like somewhere between that of like,
at a really high level. And I guess it's again, it's like it probably depends on what I think peak is or what other people think peak is. But
I guess your peak will change because maybe at one point your peak was just dancing. And maybe you hit that peak, but then now you hit that peak. It's like, you know, the Mount Everest thing of like you never see, and then you're like, there's another one.
More. No, I agree. So I feel like I find it hard to answer because I, like, as a dancer, like if I took away everything else, and you looked at me as a dancer, as a performer, then like I can reel off 10 million things that I've done. Do you know what I mean? And then same as a choreographer, my own stuff that I've done, like again, you can reel off all the credits, but like. It's interesting because I feel like I've hit all these different lanes and been at a pretty good level in them, but because I haven't maybe done one thing, I haven't solely like soared with that one thing, if that makes sense. Like I'm an all-rounder. Like if you do you need me to dance for you? Yes, I can do that. Do you want me to choreograph that for you? Yes, I can do that. Do you need me to teach? Yes, I can do that. And it's like, do you know, all these different things I can do at a very good level. But I think now, like I was saying, I want to really focus on these things to really soar kind of through.
So like if you had just from the beginning been like, all I'm going to do is just dance forever.
Then I feel like I would have peaked already. But whereas I'm trying to do all these different things, which is, I don't think it's a bad thing because I especially think in this generation, this new generation of young people coming up, everyone's doing everything. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's great.
It's like such a multidisciplinary
which I think is dope. But but our generation, it was I don't know about you, how you feel, but I feel like everyone was like, focus on one thing, like you can only do this, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna do all of this. So sorry, I don't think I've answered the question. But I feel like I'm
just
still
to hear the thoughts.
I need to peak, and I just want to like be undeniably amazing. Like that is what I want to be like.
But what do you think, I mean, taking what we said about the Mount Everest syndrome, let's call it.
Mount Everest I like syndrome. That. I'm going to take that.
Do you think that you personally will ever sit and go, I've peaked? Like this is it.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
Because as soon as you're a creative director, maybe you're like, maybe I want to be a director. Maybe I want to be, or whatever it is. There's always another.
I think it's. Do you know what I think? I find it really hard actually to look back at the things that I've done. Like I'm very much a person moving forwards. Like, and I've definitely realized I need to look back at everything that I've done because I'm very much like, okay, let's do this.
What's next?
Yeah. Like I need to push this. I need to do that. It's taken me a while to really learn to utilize the content that I've already created. And I think it's because we're in an age now of like posting everything, which I find really hard to do. It's so like, what's the word? Sell by date. The sell by date of things is like, you're sick today, tomorrow it's someone else.
Like, so what did you do today?
Do you know what I mean? So I definitely find that really challenging.
That's interesting.
Something that I'm trying to overcome this year is sharing more content because if anyone like dived into my library of like work and the things that I haven't released and things, everyone would be like,
that's
what?
A lot.
Like, which scares me a little because like, obviously I don't want anything bad to happen, but if I like died tomorrow, I think everyone would look at all the content that's left and be like, why didn't she?
But I guess this is the mark of any. I'm thinking of like artists that have passed. Again, it's a bit of a morbid topic, but like a lot of artists that have passed, famously the Tupac thing of like him having so much content, unreleased material. But like, I think a lot of artists have way more stuff than they put out. And 100. I mean, I definitely feel that in a way. I think I put a lot of stuff out because I'm a bit of I'm kind of the opposite of you. I think I'd just put anything out, even if
but
it's not ready.
I really admire that about you, because I feel like I overthink. I'm a big overthinker, and like I could watch something and it'd be great, and then like my fingers like to the side or something, and I'm like, no. But
I think there's drawbacks to both. You know, it's like as much as you're a perfectionist, and maybe that holds you back from putting this stuff out, and maybe there's more things that we could appreciate about you. Maybe people, let's say like the pro of that could be that people see you in a much better light than maybe they see me, whereas the pro of my way could be that like I get more stuff out, but there's also a lot of trash that I put out. But do you know what I mean? Like contextually compared to like what I could do, or you know, there's a lot of stuff that I've just been like, yeah, fuck it, I'll throw it up on Instagram. And
but I think that's a great energy, like, because people are going to love you for you, and like you have a natural, like it's like an honesty. I think is great, and it's not that I don't want to be honest. I do want to be honest, but I think it's just Well, I'm gonna be inspired by you, Duke, and start putting out everything.
Look at us being so nice and lovely this morning. No, but I think you know what, like that's always been my mentality of what helps me sleep at night is like, yes, there's a lot of things that I think people are seeing that is trash, or like I look back and a few years like, why did I post that? But what I want is for people to grow with me and be like, you know, for people to hopefully, let's say like in 5 years time, listen to the podcast and then go back and see the first one and be like, yo, he used to be really bad at this, but he got good. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like,
it's growth.
See that growth.
I think it's growth, because you'll never be bad. I think that there's just a beauty in honesty, and I think, you know, like a lot of music artists will like release, I don't know, 5 singles from their album, and they're like, I really wish I would have released this song, but then like the one song that they released that like hit #1 was one that they never like. I don't know if you've watched Drunk Champs. Have you seen Noriega?
Oh, I know the
with
show,
Pharrell. Have you seen Pharrell? The Pharrell interview?
Nah.
Duke, go home today. Watch that. It's about 3 hours, so you need time.
No, I love long podcasts.
But like he was explaining about Snoop Dogg's fronting.
It was supposed to be
you know I want to be.
Who was that supposed to be for?
It was for Prince.
Yes.
But out of Church, is it Church to the Young? I can't remember what the song is called.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Do you know what I mean? They I think they did 2 songs, and like the one that Pharrell thought was gonna bang wasn't the one that banged. It was Frontin'.
Okay.
That like, do you know what I mean? And imagine if Pharrell never released Frontin' thinking this is
it was gonna be the shit one. Yeah.
And that's what I mean about your you releasing videos. Someone could watch that and go, I want Duke to work with me, because that's how I want to move. So I think that's the beauty of you just letting things go, and I think that's something I really want to get into the energy of, because like I was saying, life's short, man. Like if we've learned anything as a whole, like life is super short. So I just need, I need you to message me every morning and go, can you check?
But you know, like Lee Putman, my friend, he's really like this with his painting. Like he gets quite perfectionist.
He's so sick, bro. He is so sick.
But this is what, like, he will do this, the Pharrell thing and the kind of thing that you're describing, where he will like make something and not put it out, and then like weeks later show me it and be like, I didn't. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? But the thing that I always say to him is like, once you like, I get in the process of creation, you analyze and you're like, no, that doesn't work. This doesn't work. Once you're finished creating something and it's done and it's just there, it's kind of like, in a way, like, who are you to tell me what I, as an audience, should enjoy?
That's very true.
Because you might hate your, like, let's say you make some choreo and you're like, I hate it, but it's done, it's finished. So it might be it might be the fronting. It might be the thing that changes my life, and
forever.
I'm like,
exactly.
I love it. Yeah. But you, in a way, if we said, like, not to attack you this morning, but like, if you deny your audience of something that could,
it's kind of rude, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it's rude, a bit like,
isn't it?
You might have created something that's going to make me inspired to
do something, exactly.
And but now I can't get that because you
no, but exactly. And I think that's something that I'm trying to learn. But do you know what really affected me? And I don't know if it affected you, because we're from the same generation, but the crews that I were dancing in, and this is no like disrespect to them, it wasn't a bad thing, it was just a generational thing, I think, and a culture thing. But there was this whole like don't share your work online, and like people might steal your moves, and like that kind of crew, really battle crew element of like like, I don't know if you remember, like when people used to train for jump off, like no one would let you in their rehearsal. Like when people used to train for jump off or like,
I don't know if they thought it was going to be like you got served or something. Like someone's going to.
No, but exactly. And maybe that wasn't. Maybe that was my assumption, but it felt like that. So then I think I had that energy of like,
keep it close.
I can't share anything until it's ready, or like I can't share anything until I'm ready to fire. Like, and I think that that's something I've needed to like get over. Because even as a like, because I started battling again, like I haven't soared with battling. I've done it, I've tippled in it, I've done it quite a lot. But like again, if I solely focused on battling, I probably would soar in it.
You
like
had quite a few good moments. I think, like when you were at Go Hard or Go Home.
Oh
right?
yes. Oh my god. No, I got to the finals with Kieran.
But you were dancing good that day. I remember thinking, I was like, oh damn, because I remember feeling like. Kind of what you're describing to me is what I felt like watching you. I was like, this feels like something that she doesn't put enough energy into. Not that you don't put enough, but like
no, like I don't share it. Yeah, exactly. But
then like at Go Hard or Go Home, I felt like it feels like you've been prioritizing it to get yourself up to that level.
But that's the thing. Like even with Go Hard or Go Home, that I remember that like it was yesterday. But like the energy I had was like F it energy. I was like, F this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
F this. I was like
multiple times already.
I was like literally that energy, and I think I just need to bottle it and drink it every day.
Yeah.
Like that kind of energy, because I think that's what's got me through. Like a lot of the time when I haven't got things like. Because I have like anyone, like you're going to have loads of closed doors, you're going to have doors open for you, but a lot of doors I've created myself, like purely because I haven't sat around and waited for something to come to me. And I think that's something I'm really proud of, because if I waited or just went to things that were called like to me, then I wouldn't have done half of the things that I've done. Like
this is kind of what I was going to ask you about as well. Like, do you feel like, because you said, you know, like you've had to create a lot of opportunities for yourself. Like, how do you see in the scene do you feel like that's just the general nature of life, that you kind of have to, like, that you've learned you have to create opportunities for yourself? Or do you feel like, you know, because I'm sure I've seen or we've spoken about like similar topics in the past but do you feel like you maybe should have been given more opportunities than you've got, or anything like that? Or do you feel like
that's a really good question?
It's just life, like nobody gets all the opportunities they would love to get? Or...
No, I think that if I'm being really transparent and honest, I think that some opportunities are given. How can I word it? I feel that some things, some social aspects set up certain opportunities.
That's true. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think some cultural aspects set up some opportunities, and I think some privileged aspects set up some opportunities. Yeah. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Basically, like
Like, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but like, say for example, we do this podcast and we talk after, and then I don't know, there's a thing there. I'm like, oh, like Duke, actually, like I'm doing a shoot tomorrow. Can you come and shoot it? Yeah. Like maybe if I didn't have that conversation, or if we didn't meet today, I wouldn't have given you that opportunity. Yeah. And I think that's a social aspect 100%, of opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think that there's some negative social aspects of like, which I've definitely experienced, unfortunately. This is not me playing a violin, but just being very real, because I was very naive in those moments and I didn't really realize. But like me being brought into a space because I'm a female,
right?
And it's either to tick a box or it's to have a sexual energy in the room.
Interesting. Okay.
Or it's.
But do you mean like? How do you mean by sexual energy?
Like if you really deep it, just comments that I've had like sometimes in the space of like even just passing comments like, oh yeah, because like, and then Kloe can come in and do like this stuff, like
right,
why can't Duke come in and do that stuff? Do you know what I mean? And it's like exactly. Yeah. No, but do you know what I mean? And that's just me like saying an example, but me not deep in that until a lot older, like so it's realizing
like I guess people leaning into the like gender roles and being like, when we need like a sexy part girl, we need to get a girl in to do that.
Exactly. Kind of and I think and what I find interesting is, as I've always been quite naive, so like when I let's put it in the battle aspects, like when I battle, I never go into a battle and go, oh, I'm the only girl, or like I see the person and I think, okay, Duke's sick, like he does this is what I need to do to battle him. Like I don't think Duke's a guy, he's stronger than me, like I never see that. But then other people will put that image on you that like, well, oh, you got to the finals and you were the only girl. That's great. It wasn't like, oh, you got to the finals and you're sick.
But But until you until someone says that to you, you were like, oh yeah, I am the only
yeah,
girl.
like I never really,
yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I would advocate it,
Yeah.
but I just think that it's just interesting how I think sometimes I forget that social view.
So do you
things.
think that, like, in terms of, let's say, like opportunities or like doors that are being opened, do you think that the gender thing, I guess, or the concept of like gender in society has like helped you or worked against you more than, you know what I mean? Like, has being a female got you into more rooms than it hasn't, or has it?
No, I would never feel like it. I don't think it's got me into a room with me intentionally doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, more society.
Yeah. I feel like, how can I put it? One thing I've struggled with, which is what I'm still struggling with, is like I would, as a choreographer, for example, because of how things are, like maybe let me ask you a question. Name me a female choreographer
here we go.
that doesn't work sexually. And I'm not someone in our scene. I mean, like, I'm talking like big, huge booking jobs.
I think this is interesting because I think also
who isn't contemporary. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it depends on it kind of fits. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I agree with the point I assume you're making in, let's say, like the commercial world. Because I know a lot of female choreographers in, let's say, like the theatre world.
Yes. No, yeah, of course. That's different.
It's very different. You know what I mean? But when we start looking at like music videos.
I mean, like mainstream industry, like, because even if you think of films, like, and again, I might be really naive and I would love to be educated in it and in learning more. And I'm still trying to find more people to look up to as a female representative of like those that like I think my point is that sometimes I would get asked or to go for certain castings or even as a choreographer, and it's like, oh, we really want you to do this because we want like a sexy routine or we want like a feminine vibe, which I think's good, which I think is great. But then it's not just that, because it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
I guess
like,
also with there's that with the men, because like there's definitely like videos with guys who they try and like make them all topless and like, you know, dance wet and oily and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess the difference is there's a duality. There's also the not version of that. So like there's just the straight up choreo. But then maybe with women there's less of that. There's only the sexual side, and we don't get. Yeah,
I'm not saying that that's all that there is, but I've just encountered it a lot. That like I get a bit sad sometimes. Like for example, even as like a dancer, like I did a audition for a film. And the guys and girls got split up, and like the girls went into one room and you had to wear heels and stuff. And then I looked in the guys' room and I was like, I could have killed that. Yeah. And that shows my ability.
To be honest, I've always hated that. Even like way back when, you know, we were doing all these like kind of smaller community shows and stuff. Like I've always hated when they would do, and I've done it out of just habit, like just because I didn't know any different. But I've always felt weird about like, okay, this is going to be the boys section, and you're going to all dance
I've done the same. Yeah,
and then this is going to be the girls section, and then they come out, and it's like, why are we?
And I don't think there's a bad thing in it. I don't think it's bad. I just think that it's limiting sometimes.
It's limiting, and it's very like, if this is a word, like nuanceless.
Yeah, like
it's like you're just the basic thing of femininity, right? This routine is going to have more hips in it, and this routine is going to have more powerful moves. It's like, it's so.
I think it's just it's just interesting about genderless movement. It's something I'm really interested in, because like there was a big audition, like the Spice Girls audition, the tour. And I did the audition, and they made it really a thing of it's non-gender, it's not non-gender biased. So I thought, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go in the room and like just move and be me. And then I went to the ladies audition, and it was just really confusing, because it was like, from the understanding I had was that, okay, so if I want to move masculine, I have to go to the men's audition, but then I have to identify as a man.
Right,
Does that make sense? Whereas I don't identify as a man.
If there was like genderless in the sense of like, okay, this is more, let's remove any gender role. If it's like, this is the more powerful, this type of routine, and this is the
like,
more
I just
heels. And then whatever gender you are, you can choose which one to go into.
Because I think, I don't know, I just think it's really hard, because there was even... Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a really complex conversation.
Yeah, but I'm gonna just call in a friend.
Yes.
Let's see how this works, because we're using our WhatsApp for this. Oh,
WhatsApp.
Hello. Oh, it sounds like it's working fine. We can get a third opinion on this.
Hello.
Hi, is that Dickson? I'm asking if it's Dickson, and I know it's the one I dialed. How are you, man?
I'm alright, bro. You good?
Yeah, very good. I'm just here with Kloe, and we're recording at the moment. Just wanted to get your thoughts on a few things. We're talking about kind of the dance industry, and I guess like creating your own opportunities versus having doors open for you. And Kloe was kind of saying that her experience in the dance scene has been that, you know, there's, as much as she's, you know, created a lot of opportunities for herself, there are like social circles, there are like gender issues that either help her to get into rooms or like stop her from getting into rooms. And just wondering if you had any thoughts on that, or if you feel like, you know, being who you are has like helped you or worked against you, or if you've had to create all your own opportunities, or, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thanks for calling me.
Oh,
yeah, hello, Kloe. Hope everything is good.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree and disagree at the same times. I think, depending where you're from, your circumstances, and how you grow up, and the experiences that you've had as a dancer or as a person, influences the decisions you make and confidence you have in yourself. So I would say, personally speaking, I don't think doors have been open for me because of who I look like or what styles I'm from. I think those have opened to me because of the hard work I've put in. I would like to think so, to be honest. And I think I've never had any experience where I feel like, you know, this has been open to me because I'm a black guy or anything like that. But I do know that I've had to work hard, but I wouldn't say extremely harder than other people that are not white or black. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't feel really that like doors have been necessarily closed on you either? Because also, like, the thing I find interesting about you is like you're a really good and really successful in from my limited view, but like you seem like you're killing it with like your contemporary work. And like I would be interested to know, because obviously in hip hop it's one thing, but in contemporary, do you feel like you've had to work even harder because of like, you know, who you are or what you look like, or have you been treated just as equally?
First off, I think one of the things that's unique about myself is that my integrity cannot be questioned, whether in the hip hop world or in the contemporary dance world. And it's kind of weird to say it's a different world, but I think there's just two different scenes. But ultimately, we're doing things for the audience, and the audience are people that can feel and connect to what you do. So essentially, it's actually just one industry with two different scenes. So in terms of my experience, I think that the difficult experiences that I had wasn't really from the contemporary dancing, it was from the hip hop dancing. Like, for example, me transitioning into contemporary dance. I remember 2008, you know, I went to the popping competition. I still had my ballet tights. And funny enough, even if I won the competition, but heads were cussing me like, wow, what are you wearing tights for? You doing ballet? That's long.
Really?
You know, so that took, for me, I think at the time, a lot of people didn't understand why I was doing it. But because of a teacher that I had called Stuart Thomas, he told me about stretching and all that stuff. And you know, you can even ask Kloe, man. When we used to teach her back in the days, I didn't even mention no stretching, bro. I'd be like, bro, you got to focus on this. You know, you got to make sure you do this and that. And I wasn't really seeing the bigger picture of what I could do for myself until certain people like Stuart, you know, Stuart even filled out an application form for me to go to school and give it in. And I didn't do that for myself because I just didn't believe that I could do this as a profession. I was just, you know, winning competition was the thing. And if I can travel the world, teach, and that was it. But I think the difficult thing was actually coming from the circle that I'm well known at, and then me transitioning into another circle which they were really against. But then the other circle, like this contemporary dance circle, also they accepted me, but they were like, well, you just do that street dance stuff, so you're not really a contemporary dancer, are you? Until when I, went to school, trained, and then started dancing for one of the, leading contemporary dance choreographers in the UK, where everything started to change for me, I think. Yeah. But getting that job as well was also from doing an improv or freestyle to get that job. So it wasn't because I was black or anything like that. But I don't know, to be honest, I really feel like hard work pays off. Yeah. Doors are open. You get to open those doors yourself. Of course, there's going to be always prejudice from both sides. Yeah. Whether it's the scene, which is the hip hop scene, or the contemporary dance scene. But I think ultimately, if you just, and it's easy for me to say this maybe because I'm in a different place now, but I don't know if you know, but when I went to Lewisham College, man, I jumped the trains for 2 years because I had no money. Yeah. But those are the hard work that I had to put in to get to where I am now. I'm not saying I'm a big time sort of person, but I'm doing all right, Yeah. I can get an Uber now rather than jump the trains.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been so you would say more on the contemporary side, they, as soon as you put in the hard work and showed your integrity and showed like, I'm just good at this thing, they went, okay, cool, you're good at it, like, and just accepted you like that.
I don't think they just accept you. I think it's like, for example, the contemporary dance world, if you really think about it, is for the elitists. The way they think about things is really for the elite. For example, you start training at the age of 10 to make it as a dancer or choreographer. But as a street dancer, you can start at whatever age, you know what I mean? And that's not a problem. But for the way they think about it, like even going to ballet school, you got audition at age 10 or 11 to get into White Lodge and stuff like that. So and even the way the world looks at it, like, it's like, oh, you're a dancer, you do street dance. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I do contemporary dance. Oh, yeah, you're in theater. So I guess I don't think like it's easy for you to be accepted in any circles, but I think like you just got to prove yourself. Yeah. You just got to, and that's just got to be you being yourself in a specific way. And of course, it's going to be hard. There are going to be some circles that, certain people are really old fashioned. When I say old fashioned, I mean like they don't know what's happening now. They don't know what's new. Yeah. They don't know that there's different expression. Like, like when, I don't know how old you are, but when your parents were like, you listening to this hip hop stuff. It's not real music. It's not real music. Yeah. But then now hip hop is like the biggest genre in the world, accepted everywhere in the world, making so much money for so many different people. Yeah. Anyone can do it. But back then, I remember my parents were like, what's this? This is not real music. So it's kind of like that, really. And you just gotta prove yourself, I think. Yeah.
That's interesting. Kloe, I don't know if you have any thoughts, you can definitely pop in.
No, I agree. Go for it.
Like I was just going to ask you as well, Dickson, like being in the contemporary world, like do you have any insight into how hip hop is viewed? Because a lot of the conversations I have is like people from the hip hop world kind of almost with a chip on their shoulder, like, oh, we're going to prove to these contemporary guys that we're real dancers. Like, but I like in the contemporary world, do they look down on us the way maybe I've heard people think that they look down on us? Or is it just like, they're like, oh, that's cool?
Well, I think there's a perception that, that street dance or hip hop dance is not really, a form of dance which could be classified as, it's a word for it. But I guess, there are some people, not everybody, there are some people that feel like, that's not really real dancing. Yeah. And also from the street dance world, I remember when I started dancing contemporary dance, I was like, my teacher Stuart was like, you should do Graham. I was like, bro, if it's not popping, I'm not doing it, bro. That's not real dancing. Yeah. What do you mean? These guys are not even on the music, bro. I need to hear the boom clap. I don't see no boom clap, bro. You can't just be rolling around, you know what I mean? So there's that perception there. from this side as well.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, there are some people in the contemporary dance world, for real, they actually feel like, what is this? What you guys doing? You're just not art. This is not art. You didn't go to school to learn this. But little do they know that, there are foundations in these things, there's different levels to these things, like there's really different polyrhythms, it's just the way the society perceives it. But it's the thing, I think that's kind of changing now, I feel like with people like myself, even the people before myself, and my contemporaries, they've made a big step for us to be able to do what we're doing now. I commend names like, Jonesy D, putting certain things on that breaking convention, Benji Reed, them, Robert Houghton, those guys were pushing the boundary. No, it's not like I like what they did, but I'm being honest.
That's right.
But they really paved the way for people like us,
because it opens the conversation up, I guess.
Yeah, man. Like now you see a lot of theaters that's, what's this new hip hop thing? Let's try and get it in because it's gonna bring a different audience. So now they try and tap into it. But if those mans didn't do that maneuver, then we'll not be eating, but we'll be fighting how they fought back in the day. I'm not saying we're not fighting now. We're still fighting. But
it's a bit easier to have a reference.
Yeah, I think it's a bit easier. Now you have to just prove your talent rather than prove your talent and then fight against another institution and then fight against another set of thinking. You have to do that, but it's not as hard as how those guys was fighting.
Yeah. And I think it's like, imagine like now if I don't know, if I wanted to do a theatre show that is like hip hop theatre, and then a theatre was saying to me like, oh, well, why, like, where's your proof that this would work or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, Boy Blue sold out the Barbican how many days in a row, like Black, White, Grey. Like there's lots of other things that we can point to say this works and people like this, so I think it's true what you're saying.
Yeah. I forgot to mention Boy Blue as well, because their man's, I kind of feel rubbish not mentioning them. Yeah, in the UK, man, they paved the way. Yeah. I'm just talking about the UK, man. There's people like, La La La, whatever they called from Canada, and that their man's, they did some mad work, and heads in America, they've always been pushing these sort of things. It's kind of weird. America started this whole contemporary dance thing, and they're so backwards still. They're still in. It's weird, but it's what it is, man. But I think the UK, Germany, Belgium, France, bro. They are pushing this new wave of artistic thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wonder also, like, do you think that the key to, let's say, like hip hop dance in the kind of theatre form, or the more, or no, just in general, maybe being accepted more in the contemporary world, is more about them accepting us, or about us like upping our level and producing more quality work to really show them?
I think it's a bit of both, man. Because I think it's about opening your mind. Like, for example, for example, the biggest thing is, dance itself was not made to be in a proscenium stage. Right. This started because of Louis XIII, some French done, you know what I mean? So he started putting things like that on stage and all that stuff. Yeah. But dance is meant to be in a circle, man, like how we do in a cipher. Yeah. You connect with certain minds, you drop, you do your thing. But when you're going to present certain things in a theatre, which is a proscenium arch, which is not something that is normal to the hip hop scene, you've got to come halfway. So when I say come halfway, it means that you're not just gonna come there and do a thing just saying that this because this looks good in the mirror. Yeah. Everybody's
or in the cipher
that, but they don't get it. It's like, bro, what do you mean they don't get it, bro? Yeah. Mans can't just come into your world. And you know what I mean, you're doing it in their world, and then you expect people to come into your world because, bro, chill, bro. You need to come halfway
Yeah.
So you need to understand what choreography is. You need to understand what staging is. You need to understand what lighting is. What music are you using? Are you doing the music visualization, which is what we see in the hip hop scenes, or are you like changing things? You can do music visualization, music correlation, juxtapositioning from the music. Different things. Like compositional things. How you choreograph. You do repetition. And some hip hop dancers, they don't like to repeat because they think repeating is dead. So they don't know that if you do repetitions, you actually sort of making that repetition more prominent. And so it's almost like you're trying to say something. If I'm trying to say, yo, bro, get that chicken. Bro, get that chicken. Bro, get that chicken. Bro, get that chicken. Then you get it.
Yeah.
I heard you, bro. I'm gonna get the chicken. It's kind of like that. But if you're not coming halfway, then it's kind of hard for that system that was not made for you anyway. It was not made for the culture that you're from anyway. You've not been taught from a young age about that system.
Yeah.
If you don't come halfway, it's gonna be difficult, and that's what I feel like a lot of hip hop choreographers and quote unquote and also artists don't succeed because they not open-minded about coming halfway.
Bro, I could not agree more. Like I think you're smashing it, because this is the thing I think as well. It's like if you there's an art to the style of contemporary. There's an art to the style of ballet. There's an art to the style of hip hop and popping. But if you take all of that away, there's also an art to choreography and staging and performance. This is what I think, like, you're saying as well, is like, if you don't know all those things, you can't just take your art and that works in a cypher and just throw it on stage. Which we've seen so many times, like people doing, and then they get pissed and say, like, this is what you said as well, not to repeat, but like, like that they get pissed and say like, oh, they don't understand me. And it's like, do they not understand you, or did you not try and communicate with them? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's not even that. You got to think about this, Those audiences that come into those proscenium arch, they don't usually come to the ciphers, to the battles. Now, so you get people that come to the battles and people that normally come to the proscenium arch, and you get just Joe Bloggs. And I say Joe Bloggs, I mean my next door neighbor, next brother that don't know anything about dance. So how are you connecting to these people? If you just do a dance thing for dancers, then bro, you're never gonna eat, bro. Well, I don't dance for dancers, bro. The work that I do, it's not for dancers, it's for everybody. Everybody. Even my little niece that is 2 years old should be able to connect with it. And I think that's what's important. Coming halfway, my G. If you don't come halfway, how you expect someone? It's like, if you're going to have a handshake, you just put your hand out. And then everyone's looking at you like, what's going on? Especially trying to do a fist bump with someone that's never done a fist bump before. It's like, what is that?
What are they doing?
Yeah. And so in that way, do you look to the people, like, you say you don't dance more for dancers, but more for everyone to understand. Is that where you look for your, how do you say that, like gratification or your props? Like, do you not care if dancers like you or not? And you're more like, well, if the audiences that I'm doing this for like me, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I do things that I'm really interested in.
Okay.
And if it connects with people, my biggest thing in making work or in dance is to connect with people. Even when I'm battling, man, even when I'm battling, I take the piss out of people hard. And I'm hated. But it doesn't matter so long as I get the job done. And then the people connect with it. And sometimes I've had some rubbish rounds. It's like, I get carried. But then I feel like, okay, you know what? I didn't do my best there. Did people connect with it? No. People did not connect with it because I'm maybe too self-conscious about what I'm doing. Maybe I'm overthinking about what I'm doing. And that's what generally happened. But if you just let go and be yourself, 9 out of times people will connect with you. So I feel like in what I do, I'm really trying my best to just let go and focus on an idea and really go in that idea, create parameters just about that idea and not just do my normal thing that I normally do. It's like for example, if you go to a shop, I don't know, you go to another country, for example, you speak English, right? You know what I mean? And you speak your English. Them don't understand your English. So what do? You're going to have to break it simple English like, hey, chicken, how much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that. You know, so I just feel like, anyway, I'm digressing. I'm going on forever.
It's true. And I think also the thing is like, I have this often watching dancers in the hip hop scene where it's like, I might not like your style, but not you personally, but like someone, I might not like their style, but I like that they're being themselves. I'd rather someone be themselves and I hate their style than I like their style because they're copying someone else that I've seen that I like.
Yeah. And that's what happens. But this is the world we live in, you know, because of this social media thing, YouTube thing, you know, and people see someone being successful, they just copy that straight away and try and do the same thing because, you know, these guys had that success. Yeah. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing I had last. But you don't know, my brother. What you've got is you. You look like you. You sound like you. So you know it might be similar, but it is just the way you do it. Like for example, you know, I'll tell you there was this piece that Botis did for Sadler's Wars at one time called Black Dog.
Yeah.
You know, they were doing a few movements on the floor that looked like voguing, but before that, you know, I did a piece before that called Duende that was doing those similar movements. And then I remember after the show, certain man goes, Dickson, do you know that, you know, them mans are trying to copy you? A few people, I said, bruv, I don't feel like they copy me. They're doing their own thing, bruv. Yeah. And the way they do it is so different.
Yeah.
So we can all, it's like I'm speaking English, but I speak English in a different way.
Yeah.
You speak English in a different way. Yeah. I'm not going to come to you and say, bro, you're biting it. Unless,
biting my language.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless you start doing my mannerisms, like even the way I drop certain things, that I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Bro, we need to chat. You know?
Yeah, man.
So I just think it's just that really. A lot of people, and like I said before from the beginning, it's about self-experience. You know, a lot of people have not had experience some different things and they're not so confident in themselves. And a lot of things is to do with confidence really, you know. And I know that I'm probably lucky because my parents, they've instilled that in me. And bro, I'm do or die, man.
Yeah. Die
strong. You know, wrong, strong, right, strong, everything strong, you know? So, I think, that confidence is the thing I feel like is what I push. And I try and push that with everybody that I'm part of or the circle I'm in. Yeah.
That's dope, man. I'll let you go, but yeah, bro, like I really appreciate you calling in. I know we haven't me calling you, letting me call you. We haven't like had such a, I guess, like close relationship in the dance scene, but like I just wanted to say that I think you're awesome and I'm always like admiring your success and stuff, and especially with Firehouse and stuff that I see, but also I know you're killing it in the contemporary scene, so we all big props to you for like killing it and being successful in what you do, man.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, man, and I appreciate you saying that, bro. I feel like I'm old now. So it's time for the younger guys and younger females to push up, carry the torch, but I'm just trying to do certain things to open the door for the next lot, you know. If I can do what them elders that did, you know, for me, then I'm good. And also Kloe, I feel Kloe is doing amazing. And you know, listen, I know Kloe from day zero. Bro.
When Dickson taught me the Cobra in shouting Ilford Rev, that's what I remember. Teaching me Cobra.
He may not know this, but you know, like, you know, I know Kloe from day dot, seeing things that she's doing with myself, not just myself, you know, her own movements with the females and stuff, you know, just being an advocate for certain things, certain movements. And I'm really proud. Actually, I don't want to say proud because proud sounds weird. I mean, I'm really, because proud is like, I'm proud of you, like I'm your dad or something. No, I'm really happy for you. And I wish you all the best as well, man. And Duke, Luke, whatever, my brother, do your thing. Keep it moving.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Big love.
Safe.
Catch you soon, man. Thank you. Bye.
Do one.
Boom. I'm loving this call-in feature.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so good.
It brings such a nice little dynamic. We're having such a positive morning. Everyone's been so complimentary of each other.
Really nice. Them gems.
So I mean, that was interesting. Is there anything that, like, any thoughts of that sparked for you, or?
No, I think it was amazing. Definitely some gems there for sure. Because like Dickson said, I basically met Dickson through the freestyling scene.
Okay.
Him and Kevin. I don't know if you remember Kevin Static.
Oh yeah.
Kevin and Dickson were like, I was just in awe of them. Like Kevin, like Dickson obviously is always sick, but like Kevin Static, bruv, like this is what I mean about UK street dance history. There's just some people that people just don't know.
Was this pace. Like, were you around in like the days of like Storm and stuff?
Fam, I was in Storm and I shouldn't have been in Storm.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I was just joined the scene. I think I remember like the last 1 or 2 nights at Storm happening, but I never went.
Oh, okay.
And I remember people saying, "Oh, like Storm is like it's like that night is finishing soon
closing,
or something."
Because they changed that building into the Capital FM building at one point, I think it was. But
that was like that finished as I entered the scene.
Storm, fam, that was a night.
So if anyone that doesn't know, Storm was a club night
in Leicester.
Was it like a specific dancers night, or was it just a hip hop night?
It was just a music night that turned into like a dance night. I don't know the history of it, but that was like first time I kind of met D-Lo.
That was the
I used
spot.
to go
like
with Turbo and like everyone, Dickson was there, everyone, Kevin, and it was like battles would just happen, which I think is so beautiful.
And I think it's one of those things where like all the stars aligned in a way, like the music was right, the space was fine to dance in. Also, like you could wear trainers and stuff. So
it was
all those things. It was
great.
I guess it was maybe the like precursor to Madame Jojo's, or
I believe so. Yeah, like timeline wise, because I remember we went from Storm, and then everyone was like Madame Jojo's, and then everyone went there, and I felt like Storm was like your training ground for like throwdown. So like like you would train there. Like you'd follow
so many call outs and stuff.
But do you know what I loved about going to a club to dance was that there was like natural each one teach one moments where it was like you saw someone do something, you're like, what is that? And then like it wasn't no bite-in situation, it was literally like everyone came together and felt a vibe, which I thought was so beautiful. And Throwdown was another one that
that was
I felt like crying when that disappeared, because like, do you know what I mean? Like that was like the authentic, like you would train for that moment. Like,
I was saying, I don't know if you agree with this, but like if Throwdown came back now, I don't think it would be the same, because in those days, like we didn't have that many battles in the UK. Like I'm sure there's some people that couldn't even believe that this is the case, but we had like 3 battles a year, let's say. Like it was like Stylefest, Throwdown.
I battled you at Stylefest.
Did you?
We did when we had Cruise. Don't you remember? It was me, April.
No, that was
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Stylefest was Kim J's one.
At Stratford Circus.
Yes, that one. Yeah,
sorry.
No,
I thought it was
Funkin' Styles was a bit after.
That was, oh my god,
that was fun.
That.
Yeah,
I got cussed because I kept going in the space.
Oh really?
I was too eager.
We were so gassed. That was like our first like win that we like.
That, yeah.
And then we the first time we kind of got flown out as guests.
Yeah,
like,
that was sick. Yeah. That was
really cool. And then we went there and got destroyed, but we just ended up being like fans of like Prototype. We were like on this, do it, guys.
No, but that was sick. That was so sick.
But I mean, there's like
many battles.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a whole podcast on all this history of the scene. But yeah, I mean, all right. So going back to what we were talking about, I guess pre-Dickson.
Sorry, yes. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Like, so we were talking about making opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
And opening doors for yourself, or having doors open for you. But let's say, like, as an artist, you can talk about yourself personally or in general if you want, but like, what has blocked you in the past from flying higher, let's say? Has it been more yourself? Has it been more people? Has it been more your education, or like in whatever it might be? Like where would you see the biggest blocks to you succeeding? Quite a big question. Yeah.
One thing I'm trying to overcome, I think, at the moment is I am successful. I am successful because I wouldn't be where I am without being successful.
Yeah.
I have created so many opportunities and been so independent that sometimes I don't run with opportunities that are given to me. If that can make sense.
Like, because you almost reject having to take handouts in a way, not handouts,
but
like,
not in like a stubborn way, but like sometimes I wouldn't know what to do with it, in a sense of like, I'm so used to creating this opportunity for myself.
Okay.
That like, you could open a door for me and I'd be really grateful. And then I think there's like this weird feeling of like, well, I've completed that now, so let me go back to my lane and then keep making my opportunities.
Do you have more of an example of like how
I don't know, like I find it hard. I don't know. Like you could maybe you put me on a platform. For example, you made a platform, a Duke platform, and you invited me to perform, and there was like a great connection with all these artists or things, and then I would be like, this is great. I performed there, like, and then instead of me like running with that or going like, oh okay, Duke, how can we continue this conversation further or create this partnership, I would kind of be like, thank you so much. Bye. And then and not even in a rude way. It's like I can't explain it. Like it's a dependency, I think, maybe on myself, or feeling like I shouldn't wait for any more handouts or wait for any more.
Yeah, like you're not wanting. You're like, your mindset is not so much like, let me nurture all my connections. Let's say it's like, let me build on my own, and then they'll come, I guess.
Yeah, I find it really hard to explain. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
A great job, but I think I'm so used to being independent. I do find it hard to draw on those around me. Do
you feel like that's worked against you at some point? Because I think there is a positive side of that, where you build such a strong independent brand that it's like, we need you, so we come and find you, where even if you're off over there doing your own thing, we're like, no, but
we need you to do that.
You're so good at that, we want you. But I guess, has it worked against you in any way?
I think sometimes, not in a really deep like negative way, but like I do feel like I've missed some stuff where I'm like, I could have used that person for this, and I think it comes back to like, I don't want to feel like I'm using people, or like when really I should draw on or I should actually draw on those things. And again, it's a learning curve for me, because that's something I'm trying to get better at, is delegation and delegating, allowing people to be a part of a team and do their job, and not feeling like I have to oversee everything. And because I like to do things in certain ways. I sound like a control freak, but I like to do things certain ways. It's about allowing people to fail as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like if I employed you to film me or shoot me, and then I'm like, no, Duke, I want this shot. Then, but you're like, oh, but this would look so much better. It's allowing you to run with that.
Take that risk in a way.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what I'm trying to be more open to, because I know for me to soar now, I definitely need to draw on these partnerships and connections. I think this networking has been hard for me, because I feel like I beg it sometimes. I feel like a bit of a beg it, not that I am, but as in like I don't want to sound like I'm only talking to you because I need this, but then in the reality, that's a lot of why people talk to each other. So.
And you know what's mad is like, I've had this conversation a lot, but like, it's taken me a long time to learn what networking is, or how to do it. Because I'm exactly the same as you. I'm like, I don't want to, there's an extreme example where, and I've had this in the past for real, where I don't like someone, but mutual friends have been like, oh no, but you should really like come and hang out with them and make nice, because you don't know what jobs you can get. And I'm like, oh, they can go fuck themselves. Like I'm not like, I'm not going to make a friend that I actively dislike.
But why don't you like someone? What would make you not like someone? That's interesting.
No, that's me more like, I guess, like personal between us. Okay. Not like, I don't like them as a more just
I don't like you.
This person,
you wear that hat.
Said something to my friend or did something that I'm like, oh well, until you apologize, I'm not like, I'm not going to come to you because you have jobs and be like, oh, can we be friends again? When you did something bad to me, that's past networking for me. That's being a beg, But I think there is an element where it's like, let's say there's someone that I just don't have contact with, and I see them doing great work, and they're actually, like maybe another. I'm trying to think of who's a good videographer that I don't really have contact with. I speak to a lot of them. But like, even maybe when I met some of the other videographers in the dance scene, it's like, oh, you do what I do. Yeah. You're really good, and that's cool. And I want to, not for any specific purpose, like I don't want you to get me jobs, but it's just like, I want to make contact with you. So sometimes I'll just reach out and be like, hey, love your work. Like, and it's like,
I love that. I think that's powerful. And I think it probably comes down to self-projection. Like, because sometimes I really want to reach out to people and I'm like, but who am I to reach out to them? But then I would reach out, like I've had artists reach out to me that I would never think they would reach out to me. And they've like approached me like, well, if you want to do some choreography for me, you can, but it's fine if you don't. And it's like, wow. Like
I would love to do it.
What the hell? Like, let's meet tomorrow. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think it's assumption and what you...
So you kind of feel... like you would want to, like, let's say with a music artist, like you would want to reach out and offer them, but you don't see yourself, maybe like you don't have enough self-importance to be like,
I think,
hey, I'm bringing you something dope.
But in that sense, I'm actually pretty, I feel like I'm pretty confident in doing things like that.
Okay.
My only pullback is like, I'm like so confident and going, bam, I've made this for you. What do you think? It's the next step that I'm trying to get better at, is like where they're like, okay, let's work together. And then it's like, send me everything. Like, what's your fees? What's this? And having all of that in place to go bang is what I always want to have ready. And I think that it's all good to create and show someone your ideas, but it's then about fine tuning how you're going to work together from there on, which I think is a whole navigation in itself.
There's a lot of different layers to this whole networking thing of like, because then I've also had it, you know, from other people as well, where it's like, oh, I'd love to work with you on something, for example, and then you're like, okay, this is very vague. Are you hiring me, or are you just trying to get something for free? And if so, just ask me, like, can you do me a favor? Or say, here's the fee. But it's like, we've had like 7 conversations about this project now.
Now, what's going on?
Am I getting paid or not? So I think it's like the whole...
It's deciding when that moment is, because it's like... Yeah, because I think some artists I spoke to have been really clear and been like, send me your fee, and that's really open, so it's great. And then there's other people that like continue the conversation, like you said, and then they don't really ever speak about it, and then it gets awkward because you're like,
I need to ask you at some point. And also, I'm super down to like, I do a lot of like, let's say air quotes, free work, which is like collaborations or this or that. I'm super open to that because I love what I do, so I'm always happy to do cool shit. But for me, it's like, just let's say that from the beginning.
Be
like,
real.
This isn't a paid job, but if you've got time, I really have a cool idea. Do you want to, or like, you know, let's say it's Dance With Me and You. It's like, oh, hey, Kloe, like, we've never choreographed a piece together. Do you want to just do it like for fun? And make that clear that it's just for fun.
Just fun.
If you're like, nah, I think you're shit, or like, I don't have time, or I'm busy, I'm out of the country. You know,
and it's just real. It's being transparent.
Like, let's
I
get
agree.
on with it.
No, I agree, and I think it's conversations that for me personally, like I wasn't brought up in business, so I don't have that experience.
Where did you get that from?
Experience.
right. Just messing
literally up. Of like even just being around the right people. Like Dickson was talking about, having the people around you that kind of teach you those ways, and like at the moment, like Aaron Sillis has been a huge inspiration and supporter for me. And he's supported a lot of people in the scene in regards to creating opportunities and stuff. And it's been nice to be around him and Tally, be around like that kind of Sillis hub of people.
They seem like a good bunch.
They're an amazing bunch, and it's like, but they're amazing, but they're very what's the word? Clear and articulate. In decision making, like, which I really admire, because it's like it sets up a precedent for you to then go, oh, I can actually be more confident in my craft and what I offer and what I provide. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know what I think is a really, I think this makes sense with what we're talking about. But so, you know what like imposter syndrome is, right?
1,000,000%.
So like, for anyone that doesn't know, imposter syndrome is this, it's not a real medical syndrome, but it's like the feeling that you don't belong somewhere. So if you are, I've had this, I suffer from this all the time.
I'm with you. 1 million. I'm 1,000,000%.
Where it's like, you know, you get asked to like, okay, we're going to have 5 videographers to come on this project. This has happened to me, right? And I go in and I'm like, well, I've filmed a few of my friends, right? And then the guy next to me, and again, this is a real example, has been like, oh yeah, I'm just here because we're on a break from filming visuals for John Legend's tour. And I'm like, cool, why am I here, please? But the imposter syndrome comes in where you immediately question yourself and say, I don't belong here, as opposed to going, well, I must be dope if I'm in the room with someone doing that job, right? Or whatever. So I think imposter syndrome, a lot of people subconsciously have that. And I think it stops them from being in rooms with people that are maybe, I don't even want to say out of their league, but like, I always want to be the worst person in the room at what I do. Like, that's my thing. Like, not in a way of I want to get worse.
No, but you want to learn from the people around you. Or...
as a dancer, if I'm training and I'm the best dancer in the room, what am I getting? I want to be the worst dancer in the room, so that I'm like anything that I do in this room, I'm improving and I'm catching up to that level. I think that's where imposter syndrome can kick in. But I think this is the thing with like growing and getting experience and getting business. Because if I stay if I'm the big fish in a little pond, I'm not improving and I'm not getting any knowledge that I don't have. If I put myself in these rooms where maybe I feel mad uncomfortable because I don't think I'm good enough and I think I'm going to mess up every minute. But if I can overcome that, the knowledge in that room, this hypothetical room, do you know what I mean? Is where I think all of my like level ups have come from. Is from I did a project where the whole time I felt like a bumbling idiot and I was like, you know, I've had, you know, again with camera stuff where they've been like, oh, just put this filter on, and I'm like, I don't know what you just said. And they're like, all right, it's this, and but at the end of it, the knowledge that I come away with, it's like another level. So I think it's mad important to.
I think that's interesting, because I suffer from imposter syndrome on a next level.
It's mad to find out the people that do, because you never expect it.
But 100, no, but I do on a daily basis, and the kind of like sandwich of it is that like I've kind of suffered with approval addiction a lot of the time, which is like getting the approval that you've done the right thing or like that you're doing good. And I've got much better at it now, but like it used to be really, really bad, like to the point that like I would do rounds in a battle or something and run up to the closest person and go, was that good? Was that all right? And it's like a drug. It's like a weird necessity. But I've got better at it now. But like it's interesting when you say about being in spaces with people that can provide you new knowledge and stuff. And I think that's really good. But then I think there's also because I think the energy of someone like teaching you something is really important. But sometimes when people are like, oh, you should know this already. I think that can get a bit toxic sometimes, because it's like, it's good to be in that like on your toe like energy, but at the same time, I think it's like balancing that out with people that
if you
have patience with you as well.
And I think also that is determined by how how much you don't belong in the room in reality, because let me not get it twisted, because there's imposter syndrome and then there's just like, rooms that you don't belong in.
You need to learn a little bit more to be in there.
I should not be the cinematographer for a Hollywood film right now. I should not be in that room.
But that's not because you're not good. It's because you just need to have more knowledge, which is understandable. But that's the same. Like it's like me trying to go into a ballet class and teach. I would die. Like I would freestyle my life away, but I would die. And
there's a difference. I think you have to know for yourself when you're like, okay, I'm battling with, you know, like 2-on-2, and I'm with someone who's really good, and it's like I don't not belong here. I just need to work my hardest to you know overcome the doubt of battling with this person,
because otherwise you can shrink.
Otherwise you can shrink, and you can learn a lot by that experience. Then there's the situation where Bruce emails me and asks me to judge Just Taboo World Tour, and I'm like, oh no.
You have to be right. No.
Yeah, it's like no. I sent him a voice note. No. It's like you've addressed this to the wrong person. Like so, I think it's like you have to know for yourself, and this is, I guess, the trick to imposter syndrome is like
making the differentiation.
Yeah, when it is imposter syndrome, you do belong in the room. You have a lot to learn from those people, and again, like you said, it's the people that are teaching you, because just because you feel like you have a lot to learn from someone doesn't mean they can treat you like shit.
No, exactly. And I think that's something I'm really trying to advocate, especially working in the industry, is creating a safe space for people to work hard. Don't get me wrong, but you don't need to treat people like crap to work hard. I personally don't.
Do you find that a lot in like jobs and stuff?
Sometimes, and I think it's people's experience, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like you've got directors that will be like shout at you, and that's how they work. And you'd speak to them after you have a cup of coffee, and they're like, oh, okay, you're really nice, but you're not a monster. Like, but then it's just understanding how people work, I think. But again, it's what you really accept as well, because I think it's hard because I've been in a really disciplined environment, and knowing that like this is going to push me, but then there's like a line, I think. Whereas like, no, but I am a human as well. So
to be honest, like, and I don't even think that I mean, sometimes it does speak to the person, but I don't even think that always has to speak to the other person. It can speak to you as well, because like I remember doing, I think, I can't remember when, but I did a Boy Blue audition, and it was a tough fucking audition. Like anyone that knows Boy Blue and seen their work, you can imagine what an audition would be like. This was just for the general company or something. And I think it was either a callback or they did another audition and they asked us to come back, and me and my friend. And actually I didn't go because I was like, I don't actually think I want to be in this company. Not because I love Boy Blue and I think Kenrick's great and that sort of stuff, but the way that they work so hard. They're so physical. They drill the crap out of you, and it's like they create machines like with their dance. Like that's why their shows can look like what they look like. And at that point, that's not what I wanted to do, you know? And it's like, I have to, you know, I could have easily projected that on them and like made out like it was something bad. It wasn't anything negative. And some people would love that. And actually in different contexts, I used to play basketball a lot. In a basketball context, I love that. I need a coach that drills the crap out of us. At that point for my dance,
it wasn't what you needed. No, so I understand.
That's not for me.
That makes sense. Yeah, because that's the same. Like, it's interesting you said that, because when I joined Boy Blue when I was 15.
Yeah.
And danced with them ever since. And then like I'd been in a few different crews, but like experiencing that militant discipline is actually what I needed.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's what drove me to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I need to be in this company.
Look, exactly the same
which
reason,
is interesting.
but
Do you know what I mean?
reactions.
It shows both sides. I totally understand that. Whereas like now in my career, I'm like, discipline, but I think there's a padding you can create around that discipline, that militance, that is that creates a balance in the space. Which is something I'd really love to find. Just understand, like Dickson mentioned it about like what contemporary dancers think of hip hop world, and I think it's about practice, because as street dancers or hip hop dancers, we weren't born in the studio. Like it was in the street, it was in an environment, in a culture, in the clubs. Like it's not the place you go to stretch or condition your body. So it's something that's had to be additionally
like built
put
into
on.
our practice,
exactly. Like even with like Just Us Dance doing like the hip hop apprenticeship that they're doing at the moment, there's never really been anything like that set up for
and like
hip-hop
there's
dancers,
loads of examples, even like UEL with their program, like
exactly the urban dance practice, and even like Just a Boo School, having a school or a place that you can go to specifically for these things. It's something that's had to have been grown. And even Boy Blue, like what Kenrick and Mike have been doing since before me joining, like it's creating a space to be able to train your body to do these things, which a lot of people didn't tap into. They've just gone, okay, I'm going to go to the club and dance, or I'm going to go to the battle. Like,
and what you can
look
do
at
is
the
what
amount
you
of battlers that just turn up, do their rounds, and then 10 years later they've got knee injuries. Do you know what I mean? Because they've not realized, and that's not their fault. It's just an education that's missing, which I think can be implemented, which I think is being implemented slowly.
We're seeing a lot of changes, I think, in our generation. Some of them are working, some of them aren't, but like a lot of these like things people are trying to build, you know, even like there's physios that are, especially with, you know, stuff like breaking and with Red Bull in the Olympics and stuff. I think that's, for me, is like driving a lot of the change in the industry.
think that will hopefully bring like a huge awareness of conditioning, because runners don't just bop up to the track and go, let's go.
And like the amount of things that Olympic athletes get behind the scenes, like physio,
that you don't see.
They understand. Even like, you know, if you think of cyclists with like the aerodynamics of their helmets, like there's so much science and
understanding
everything that goes in, and even if that trickles down a bit and ends up with your local b-boy stretching more, it's still a good thing, you know?
No, it's 100, it's true, because we don't, I think, I don't want to say it for everyone because everyone's different, but like it took me a while to start studying my own body. Because I didn't go to ballet school or contemporary school, or do you know what I mean? I was
saying this to someone last night. It's like, I feel like as a photographer, my two main areas of expertise should be my equipment and light. I should understand light and how it works.
Those
I should
two components.
understand my equipment. As a dancer, I should understand music, and I should understand my body.
Exactly.
You know, it's like after that, the subject you can put those things onto, but you have to be an expert in music. You have to be an expert in your body.
And that's weirdly what a lot of people miss is music. Like the amount of people that don't know BPMs or like
or structure of music, layer, like any of that.
It's crazy.
And that's without even getting to the stuff Dickson touched on with performance and staging, and that's contextual. It's the same as like battle technique or wherever you tend to frame your dance. You have to understand.
There's a whole heap of layers that I think unless you are exposed to that education or around the right people, again, I think it's hard to find.
And I think also like being a professional in anything, requires you to start becoming an expert. So it's like the same way, you know, people dance in the club. The difference from that to being a professional dancer is the same as driving to Sainsbury's or being Lewis Hamilton. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a whole different. Just because you drive to Sainsbury's doesn't mean you can get in an F1 car and win. It's the same activity, but you're becoming totally an expert league. In it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree.
But I don't want to keep you too long because I am sure you have many many things to do. So we'll wrap up now. But yeah, guys, thank you for listening. Big shout out to Dickson for calling in. I really enjoyed that. Keep tuned to the Artists for Artists website. So www.artistsforartists.co.uk. The 4 is a number 4 because we're clever like that. And it's for the digital spring stage. Everything will be on there. There should be around 8 weeks of content. I believe, are on our 3rd week now, or we will be. I'm speaking into the future. That's weird, isn't it? We're speaking to people in the future. So keep everything, keep locked to everything on the socials. You can find Artists for Artists on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and obviously our website where everything is there. There's a whole bunch of like opportunities, resources, everything. It's awesome. Also, all the Duke London podcasts are Spotify, YouTube, basically every audio platform except for SoundCloud because they didn't want to be involved and made me pay for a subscription. So bye. And yeah, and you can check out all our past episodes. There's been 2 episodes so far of the Artists for Artists collaboration with myself. We have 1 more coming next week, and then we're on to different content. So yeah, keep involved. Please do like comment if you like the stuff. Only subscribe if you want to hear more. But yeah, like please let us know because I get a lot of people that when I run into them, they're like, "Oh my god, I love the podcast," and I'm like, "There's been a whole year where you haven't commented that." It's like, please let me know. I love reading the comments, or you know, it's good to have that feedback. So please do engage with us, share it in your Insta stories, all that social media jazz because of algorithms and such. I don't know. I'm just saying technology words now. The web. But yeah, all right. So we'll wrap up and catch us next week in the same place. Bye, guys.